Hey there, folks. Welcome to Broadband Deployment News. Google Fiber has announced that they are planning on rolling out 20 gig internet service in select locations to select customers by the end of the year. Be back with more. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So I wanted to look at the story and dig into it a little bit. So we see Google Fiber goes big with 20 gig plan. This is on Fierce Telecom. I've linked to this article as well as some other things I'm going to look at here in the description of this video. So I'll read through this a little bit. So while others across the industry battle it out over 10 gig claims, Google Fiber is looking to go bigger, plotting the rollout of a symmetrical 20 gig service for select residential and business customers by the end of this year. Executives told Fierce is tapping into Nokia's 25G PON system to make the service a reality. Let me say also up front while I'm talking about this that we are a Nokia partner. So if you need assistance with Nokia fiber gear, if that's something that you're looking to deploy, reach out to us. I've got our contact information up here right now. So, and there's a couple of things we do. We can get the equipment for you, but also we just had a joint announcement with Nokia at the SCTE show where we can help with the activation of the devices. So if you get Nokia fiber, you need to activate the devices, and there's something called Nokia Altiplano access controller that does all of that. So we can help with that either through provisioning through our provisioning system here so that you don't need to do the upfront expense of Altiplano and get that yourself. Or if you do want to get Altiplano but don't want to hassle with all of the deployment, setup, and kind of the management of that systems, we can host the Altiplano software for you. So you would purchase it and own it, and we can host that for you. So two options there. One, you get rid of the upfront costs of Altiplano and all of the equipment and all of the technical expertise of hosting it. Or second, you can buy the software, but you don't want to manage it, have to deal with the equipment. We'll host it for you. So just keep that in mind. Again, you see our contact information there. So again, back to the story. I wanted to mention that. So you see here, Nick Saporito. It's interesting. We've got a pizza place called Saporitos in my area. Probably not related, but good paisano like myself, Italian guy. Head of product at Google Fiber told Fierce the company has been trialing the 20 gig service in many markets for almost a year already, and noted the project is the first to come out of its recently launched G-Fiber Lab initiative. Trials have included deployments at Kansas City University and United Way in Utah, as well as a rollout to his own home in Kansas City. So he's got really fast internet at his home. Additional residential testers are in the pipeline, he said. So it sounds like they're just really doing limited tests now, but they're going to be expanding this. Asked why Google Fiber is jumping from its current top-tier 8 gig offering all the way to 20 gig, Saporito said, we definitely see a need for this. I'm not sure why. He added, though, that this is sort of a very early adopter product. I would definitely agree there. This isn't going to be a general availability product from Google Fiber where we just make it broadly available like we're doing with 5 gig and 8 gig. This is going to be a bit of an invite-only opportunity for our early adopters. And even the 5 gig and 8 gig are not necessarily available everywhere, which I'll show you here in a minute. But certainly 5 gig and 8 gig is pretty fast. Most people would be very happy with 1 gig and could do everything they'd ever want probably in a normal situation with gig symmetrical. So that's why this is not something that I think is needed, certainly as a broad product. There would be limited reasons that somebody might want something really fast. And, businesses, it's a different story, but certainly residential home users, a gig is plenty. Even for many businesses, a gig is plenty. They might want more. You get your 5 and your 8 gig, but when we start talking about 20 gig, that's really significant. And the pricing will not be cheap, I'm sure. We'll take a look at some pricing that Google has now for their plans, as well as EPB, the Chattanooga provider that will be referenced here in a minute. So invitees will likely include Google Fiber's existing multi-gig customers. So if they've got a 5 gig or an 8 gig customer, they'll invite them to try the 20 gig. I don't know if they'll give them the same price for a period of time or what they'll do about that, but they'll get a chance to test it out. Customers who take up the service will be given a pre-certification Wi-Fi 7 router that Google Fiber has developed. So that's another reason to check it out, is you can check out their Wi-Fi 7 router. Wi-Fi 7 is brand new. Wi-Fi 6 is barely out. Wi-Fi 6E, I believe it is the one that uses the 6 gigahertz spectrum. So that's very new as well. So Wi-Fi 7, the latest right there. To be clear, Google Fiber's forthcoming offering won't be the fastest available in the country, nor is the company the first to break the 10G speed barrier. EPB, a local provider in Tennessee, launched a symmetrical 25 gig service in August 2022. It too is using Nokia's 25 gig kit. And I talked about that back then when EPB first rolled that out. But the move is significant as Google Fiber seems to be the largest operator to make such a play in earnest thus far. Frontier Communications previously said it's working with Nokia on 25G trials as well, but has yet to announce plans for a commercial service beyond its current 5 gig offering. Stefan Vachtel, VP of Innovation for Fixed Networks at Nokia, told Fierce that Google Fiber was already using the company's XGS-PON gear, that's 10 gigabit per second, which is based on its upgradable Quillian chipset. So all the operator needs to do to get to 25 gig is plug in the new optical module and replace the optical network terminal on the end user side. So that's really cool. So if somebody's got XGS-PON now, they've got that gear, then to get to the next step, the 25 gig, all I need to do is put in a 25 gig module in the OLT. That would be the device that sits in the head end or a remote OLT out somewhere near the customer where you're serving multiple customers. And then the subscriber themselves need an ONT. That's the CPE, this customer premises device that goes at the customer premises. So they get an ONT or this optical network terminal. They would need that 25 gig ONT on their side. So it's not like they've got to swap out a lot of different stuff. If they've got the XGS PON, the 10 gig PON system, then they're just swapping out a card on one end and the ONT on the other. So that's really nice. So you can kind of choose. And that's one reason I see, that these companies are testing this and making it available, is that if they do come across somebody that says, yeah, I really need more speed than your 5 gig, or your 8 gig, or your 10 gig, or whatever you're offering, then they can drop in a card in the OLT and they can drop in a 25 gig ONT at the customer prem, and they can serve one customer 25 gig. They don't need to, it's not like they have to roll this out to everybody. That's one reason. The other reason is it's a marketing checkbox, right? So, speed, it's like an arms race. It's like speed versus speed, spy versus spy. You're trying to upgrade. You want to get faster than your competitors, even if that speed is not really that meaningful anymore. Again, once if you've got DOCSIS systems out there that are doing a gig down and enough speed up where most people are happy, most people don't need a lot of upload speed. So if they've got more than enough to take care of their upload needs, and they've got a gig down, it's really not that much different from fiber. Fiber's going to be more stable, a little bit more less prone to outages and RF issues, those kinds of things. But cable still can provide a really solid service and fast service. So it's if you've got two competing providers, let's say a cable operator and a fiber operator, one offering symmetrical gig, the other maybe close to a gig or a gig, but not symmetrical, it's going to still be hard for the fiber operator to take those customers unless the cable operator is falling down on the job as far as keeping their plant solid. If they don't have a proactive network maintenance tool, call us if you're a cable operator and you need that. Or if, for other reasons, if their system goes out a lot, they have some outages, or their customer service, their tech support is not up to speed. If you need help with tech support, call us. Or billing, if they don't bill customers and get angry about that, for whatever reason, if people want to change their service, they need a reason. And if they're happy with the speeds, just because it's fiber and specifically symmetrical, customers aren't going to care. So you get to a certain point where, like I say, right now, the need for the kind of speeds that we're talking about here, anything over a gig symmetrical, it's just not there in most situations. There might be that occasional situation where somebody really needs it or just really wants it. Maybe they want the latest thing. So that would be the reasoning there. He noted that 25G uses different wavelengths than GPON and XGS-PON, meaning all three technologies can coexist on the same network. So again, that's really important, that if you've got this Nokia 25 XGS-PON gear in there, and you've got you can put in the 25 gig cards, you can have 10 gig cards, you can even have GPON gig cards in there, and all stuff can interrupt. So you can be serving people with 1 gig, 10 gig, 25 gig, and it all uses different wavelengths. Ashtel said globally, Nokia has around 8 or 9 25 gig operators, most of whom are squarely focused on enterprise services. That makes sense. So they're really focusing on business customers. So this is another level of service that they can offer those customers. Thus, Google Fiber's desire to serve both residential and enterprise use cases is special. That's not exactly the case because if you go to EPB's website, which we'll look at here in a minute, they do say if you're a residential user, you can get, and you can afford it, you can get the 25 gig service. Why you would want to do that, I don't know. I don't know what you'd be doing in your home where you would need that. It says, to me, that's really exciting because it's going to be really interesting to see those multi-gig users, how they're using the service, yes. What they're doing, yes. What are they doing? You build a pipe, someone's going to try to find a way to fill it, and that's true. And that's why you would not want to completely roll out 10 gig service to everybody and just say, hey, we're going to upgrade everybody to 10 gig, because they will find a way to use it. And streaming services, for example, find a way to use more bandwidth if it's available. They will use the bandwidth that you've got. So that's why right now a lot of folks are offering gig is their top plan, but they have lower priced plans that people can get because you want to make sure that you don't just put a service out there and then find out suddenly everybody's using it. They don't necessarily need it, but whatever applications they have are using it because it's available. It's going to eat whatever it can. So that's something important to keep in mind. Operator declined to name the markets where its symmetrical 20 gig service will initially be available, though Kansas City seems like a safe bet based on the trial locations. However, he said the operator does have broader plans to make the service available in most, if not all, of our markets eventually. So I wanted to show you what we've got here. This is Google Fiber in Kansas City, and you see they don't have the 8 gig that they're talking about here as their top speed, but you see you've got 1 gig, 2 gig, 5 gig, so you can go from 70 to 100 to 125 for the 5 gig. So when they offer 25 gig to somebody, I don't know what they're going to charge for it. Maybe they charge 200. They can charge a lot more, as we're going to see here from EPB in Chattanooga. But they're going to look at this and say, okay, well, what is 25 gig worth? And what are they going to offer these folks that are testing it? Do they give them if they're a 5 gig customer, do they give them the 25 gig for the same price for a period of time and just say, try it out, let us know what you think, as a way to get customers on there and see what they're doing, as they say, to kind of see how they're going to use it, to kind of see how much data they're actually using on a 25 gig connection versus their 5 gig. Are they going to use about the same amount, or are they going to somehow use more? So that'll be interesting for them. And then I checked out Atlanta, because we do have it available here. And you see here, we don't have the 5 gig listed. We just got the 1 gig and the 2 gig. So maybe this is related to however many customers Google might have in an area and their backhaul, that kind of thing. So you see they've got a 1 gig for 70 and a 2 gig for 100, the same pricing, but they don't have the 5 gig or the 8 gig. Then you can see just the locations here. It says we're growing in Atlanta, but so we've got, this is just north of me. Then you've got kind of surrounding the city of Atlanta, in various places. What do we got here? Duluth. This is Gwinnett County. Stone Mountain. That's DeKalb County. Some of these DeKalb counties in here. So Fulton County here, this area of Atlanta. So they've got lots of locations, but again, in the city of Atlanta, I'm only seeing the 2 plans, 1 gig and 2 gig. Now, could you call and ask them about 8 gig and maybe get it? I don't know. And then I want to take a look at Chattanooga, EPB, and that is EPB Electric Power Board, I believe is what EPB stands for. So this was the city of Chattanooga, their electric utility that years ago decided, you know what, we're going to provide fiber internet to everybody. So they did this early on. I forget what the dates were that they started rolling out fiber internet, and they've been upgrading the speeds that are available over time to now where they do have a 25 gig product, as was announced earlier in the year. So you see here the fastest community-wide internet, range of speeds from 300 to 25 gig, fastest uploads available, no data. Let's make this a little bigger. No data caps, contracts, or surprise bills. They've got 24/7 support, free home installation, free security software. So save $30 a month. That would be your affordable connectivity program, your ACP program, people. So in that case, they don't have a $30 plan. I think they may actually provide free internet through the ACP for some customers. They may do that, but they don't have a $30 plan. So at the very worst is you pay for their 300 meg plan and you get $30 off. So their 300 meg plan is about $58, and you got their gig symmetrical, most popular you see here, $68, and then you've got gig 10 for $300. So you can get their 10 gig XGS PON, 10 gig for $300. Again, this would be using Nokia's XGS PON, but they have the ability using that platform to do Nokia's 25 gig PON. So you can see here they kind of give you an idea of why you might want these faster speeds. And again, this is typical kinds of stuff where it's like, it does, obviously, having these kinds of speeds does help you do more, but you don't necessarily, there's a lot you can do on 300 meg symmetrical. But you see here on 300 meg for both upload and download, 2 minutes to download a 2-hour HD movie. So if you're going to download an HD movie and it's going to take you 2 minutes, I personally would pay the lower cost, and then I'd go make popcorn while that movie is downloading. And then I'd be ready to eat the popcorn by the time it was done. No video lag, buffer-free video streaming on multiple connected devices, online gaming, get your fill with unlimited online gaming. Latency has a lot to do with gaming, but they mentioned that there. $68 a month for their 1 gig. So there, you get, of course, the 1 gig symmetrical, 35 seconds to download that movie. No video lag, same thing, and then play with the pros. Enjoy world-class speed for online gaming. Yeah, gig. Again, I don't know how much difference if you're a gamer and you're doing 300 meg and a gig, how much difference that's going to make for you. It depends on the way you're gaming. It used to be that a lot of the gaming was done simply by transmitting telemetry back and forth, and all of the graphic intensive stuff was taking place on the gaming PC or laptop. But I think these days, a lot of people are doing gaming where the gaming software is hosted out in the cloud. And in that case, you are transferring a lot of graphic data, in which case, yeah, a 300 meg versus a gig could make a difference there. But again, latency is important too, because as you shoot people, you want to make sure, not for real in virtual shooting, you want to make sure that you are quicker than they are, if possible. Then we've got gig 10, their fastest plan, but not really their fastest, the $300 per month. Again, 10 gig up and down. So there, if you're really impatient and you need to download that movie in 3 seconds, you can do it. That's an 2-hour HD movie in 3 seconds. 4K streaming. So they mentioned the fact that, 4K is obviously that's going to take more bandwidth. So you can do, it says here, multiple devices simultaneously streaming 4K. And then online gaming servers, host servers for your favorite online games. So here, if you're on this plan, you can host the server. So they're okay with that, where you're hosting it and then other people are connecting to your server and using it. So you've got that 10 gig both ways, up and down, to do that. And then down here, we've got the unlimited 25 gig internet service available community-wide. And they do mention on the site here, they talk about business or residential and checking this out. So they do offer it if you are a residential customer. But you see here, equal upload and download speeds of 25 gig. Capable of powering thousands of devices at once. Probably not something you need at home. Maybe a large business. Very large business, right? Ideally suited for customers requiring unlimited bandwidth and currently priced at $1,500 a month. So they jump from their 10 gig plan of $300 a month up to $1,500 for this. So this, again, is obviously a very special product that only some people are going to want. And again, you've got to schedule a consultation here. So they're going to want to talk to you and find out why you need 25 gig probably. You can go ahead and sign up here on these other ones, but on this one, you don't just sign up for it. I guess they're going to consult with you and find out what your needs are. And as I mentioned, if you looked at the 25 gig plans, I think it was here. Somewhere it said, no, it's just going to collect your information. Somewhere it said, whether you're a business or residential, you clicked on a button. So you could get that if you are a residential customer. So again, this is primarily 2 reasons. One, it's there. Okay. So with the Nokia platform, and again, you can get that from us. So you see our contact information here, or if you have it or thinking about it and you don't want to host the Altiplano software, have to deal with that, contact us about that as well. But so again, one thing is it's available. So if you have a lot of these companies that are deploying Nokia, as you see, there were several mentioned, including EPB and Google. If you've got that platform, then you've got your 10 gig XGS PON system in place. You can do 1 gig. You can offer that service. You can do 25 gig, and it's just a matter of swapping out the card in the case of 25 gig, the ONT, and maybe XGS PON. Maybe the ONT has to be different too. I'm not sure. But in any event, you're just swapping out one thing on each end so you can use that system. So it's available. And again, you can kind of cherry pick which customers are going to get what out of the same OLT. So you can put that OLT in the field and you can serve some customers 1 gig, some 10 gig, some 25 gig, depending on what you put in on each end of that connection. So that's one reason. The other, again, is a marketing checkbox to be able to say you are the fastest internet everywhere, anywhere in your town. So you might have another fiber operator who doesn't have that system, who best they can do maybe is 1 gig or 10 gig. Maybe they've got XGS PON from another vendor, but they can't do the 25. So you can say that you could do 25. If you've got a cable operator that you're competing with, you could, again, say that you can do 1 gig, but you can go all the way up to 25 gigs. So you've got that marketing checkbox that makes people notice you. Now, once they call and say, hey, how much is that? $1,500 a month? Okay, thank you. I don't know, again, what Google's going to be charging, but that's, most people don't, most people don't have thousands of devices that they need to connect in their home, at least not yet. Who knows? We wouldn't expect the number of devices that we have today connecting in our homes, and yet here we are. Thanks for joining me. Again, you see our contact information there. If you want any info on Nokia, we can help you with that. Altiplano, we can help you with that. If you're not subscribed to our channel, if you would click the subscribe button and ring the little bell, be notified when I'm live. If you like this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.